You missed the R.
I mean, that's why I thought it would be better if you just said Pat. And you try to put too many letters in there and you misspell your whole name.
I didn't misspell it.
Who misspells their own name?
Okay. There. Okay.
Oh, you change it?
Fixed. Yeah. Producer Blaine just got that fixed. All right, let's rock and roll.
You don't put an R. You don't put an R in your name.
I do.
Okay. All right. Good. So, hey, so if you're trying to figure out what the hell's going on, this is our 200th episode. Absolute 200th. We cannot believe that Mike and Blaine has talked to each other for 200 straight hours. Now, this is our 5th season. It's the middle of our 5th season. And if you've never heard of us before, we just kind of make up a topic at random. This was a little bit more planned because we had a guest, but it's about business. It's about beer. It's about BS. And we're also giving away sometime today, probably after the mid-break, we are going to give away the 200 Super Pack, right? Which is a 5x8 signed, I guess, photo?
Picture of us. Yeah. The two of us.
Yeah.
And a bunch of other stuff.
The big thing out of that deal, though, is that you become one of our beer sponsors for the remainder of the year. So if you got a business, if you got something, I'm going to talk about you for the rest of the year, and it costs you zip.
Nothing.
Even if you want to pay for it, Blaine, even if you want to pay for it, it's the cheapest advertising out there on the internet.
$5 an episode. Buy us a beer. We will talk about you, talk about your business. No inflation on the Mike and Blaine show. We've done that since day one. So visit mikeandblaine.com, buy a beer, and you're good to go.
There you go. Hey, speaking of beer sponsors, let's talk about them.
Let's dive in. Actually, let's go through all the beer sponsors, ending with Pat, because Pat's right here. And then we're going to start diving into our beer. So Rachel Barnett from Gentle Frog, she is a sponsor all the way through the end of 2025. If you own a business and you're using QuickBooks, you need to know how to use QuickBooks properly. Go to her YouTube channel, YouTube at Gentle Frog, and she's going to show you everything about using QuickBooks, or visit her gentlefrog.com.
Yep. And I'm going to talk about Karen Harrison. She is with 3S Smart Consulting up in Michigan. I'm going to see her in person. She's going to come to my speaking events, and I'm going to go to her speaking events in Orlando in September at the National SBDC training event. So I'm going to see her there. If you're looking for cash flow help, if you're struggling, if you're just back and forth, like, oh, I can't pay this bill, or I'm always waiting for money to come in, contact Karen at 3S Smart Consulting.
And Larry Weinstein, also all the way through to the end of the year, Cash Flow Cowboy, best CPA in Houston, Texas. If you're looking for a CPA, you got to go get in contact with Larry.
Yeah. And of course, Devin's still in. Like this guy, I'm going to tell you what, he doesn't have a business he can promote. He doesn't want us to promote him, but we have to anyway, because he is the best LSU fan, I guess, on the planet. He's a bigger LSU fan than neighbor Pat is of Michigan. He's a bigger LSU fan. He knows everything about it from right to left. Neighbor Pat is only a Michigan fan because he can't find any other letters in the alphabet, and that only has one on the side of the helmet. So everybody else has too complex a logo. Everybody else has too complex a logo. He only wants one letter on the helmet.
And also Jeff Robertson, who is your guy, Mike.
Wait a minute here, Mike. Wait a minute. You're trying to get past this. It ain't going to work, dude. First of all, Michigan doesn't have an emblem on the side of they don't have an M on the side of their helmet. Michigan is one of the most distinctive helmets in college football. And they have it in their hockey helmets as well. They have that gold bar across the top with the stripes going across. Come on, that is unbelievable.
So they don't know if they're playing football or hockey. They wear the same helmet for both.
No, they've been wearing this helmet forever, dude, because Michigan has been around forever.
Yeah, well, I'll give you that. Those guys are pretty good at hockey.
And Blaine, he thinks this is a debate where he gets a rebuttal if his name is mentioned.
Just turn off the mic.
You're the one that let me in the room. That's your problem. You think all these
all right, well, I'm going to jump forward
without a problem. We got a different problem.
Pat, we're going to be grilling you a little later, so don't worry. We're going to dig into this in a bit here, and Yeah, it's going to be fun. But before then, Jeff Robertson, actually, Mike's, your marketing guy, Jeff Robertson, dove in for 10 weeks. Thanks again, Jeff. Really excited to have you as a sponsor for the next little while. And I think we need to find out, because it's, okay, first, a little bit about the topic. Mike, give us a little brief about the topic, and then Pat, you're going to show us what you're drinking today.
Okay, so in 200 episodes, you've got to see that Neighbor Pat has been a beer sponsor. Matter of fact, the beer sponsor. He doesn't pay the $5 a week. It actually costs him more. He brews his own beer down, at his house and brings me beer. And if he didn't have stuff that he's brewed, he actually brings craft beer that he's drinking. This guy is so involved with craft beer as a part of his life that he loves to share it with everyone else. And I thought, what better way to introduce Neighbor Pat, but let him talk about the fact that he has a hobby, right? He's got a hobby of crafting beer. And we've talked about, well, what if we made that into a business? So today's topic is all about, should I make my hobby into a business? Should my hobby become a hustle? Right. And that's kind of what we're talking about.
So Pat, what are you drinking? What did you bring?
And with that thought, I traveled to Omaha about a month ago. And while I was, we always go to the same brewers, and because they got fantastic beer and great food. So it's a great restaurant, but it also has fantastic beer that they brew themselves. And while I was sitting there and talking about some of the stuff that I was doing, one of the brewers was on site and came out and started talking to me. And so I bought brew to bring home, and they put it in a 32-ounce can. And he told me, and I was talking to him about how Mike and Blaine, and they talk about brewers and beer and BS and business and all that. And he's like, well, I've got to watch this, but at the same time, I'm going to give you a beer as a sponsor. So he gave me a beer.
Nice.
And it's Upstream Brewing in Omaha, Nebraska. And the beer that we're drinking is Dundee. It's a Scottish ale, and it is fantastic. And as you can see, it was poured 6-8, and all the information is on the can. It's fantastic.
Oh, beautiful. Well, thank you, Upstream. That's fantastic.
Yeah. What's the guy's name that you met? Do you remember?
No, actually, I don't. It was a month ago.
I went on a cruise, right, Mike? I don't know any of that stuff. Well, hey, it's just like you, though, because apparently you say you listen to the podcast, but apparently you don't listen to the podcast. Is that right? You don't listen to it? You don't listen to the podcast?
I do listen to the podcast.
Because you're the only guy, outside of being the worst at cornhole, you're the only guy that would bring a beer to the bourbon episode.
Oh, that's right. We're supposed to be bourbon today.
So I'm going to drink bourbon.
So Mike's not going to drink my beer. Okay.
Yeah. Well, now, yeah, Mike, now you're missing out.
Well, what do you have, Blaine?
Well, we are going to call it's the whiskey episode. But Pat, I'm with you. I hear you. That's why I brought from a local distillery called Anoka.
Oh,
this is not whiskey. It is a barrel-aged single malt spirit, so it's actually a terrific whiskey. But Anoka, if you guys are in Alberta here, if you're especially for by Edmonton, just go out west of Edmonton, Anoka Distillery. It is a stunning location. But this whiskey, even though it's young, it's brand new, has won some international awards. It is an outstanding whiskey and a really terrific place. And I'm glad to see that someone local here is doing something really ambitious, kind of like you, Pat, doing something really ambitious. May have pulled a little fast one on you there, Pat, but it looks like you're getting a little bourbon too. So
I thought it was funny. So, hey, you got it? All right. So I'm actually going to be drinking Upstream, but we're going to have Travelers, right? And the reason I'm doing Travelers, if you remember, about this time last year, we had a guest, the other Mike Milan, right? The other Mike Milan. And the other Mike Milan had to buy the Travelers whiskey because his football team lost a football game to the Kansas City Chiefs. So there we go. So I'm going to have a little bit of both today, and I'm going to thank Upstream. Oh, dude, did you
thank
see
you,
that?
Upstream. We are going to tag you guys for sure. And
awesome.
Yeah, thank you again. Really, really appreciate that. So I think we got to dive into this though, Pat. We got to turn this over to you. Hobby to hustle. How long, first of all, how long have you been doing this hobby? Because Mike knows the full story. I don't know the full story here.
I've been doing it for about 12 years now. I started off with just plastic buckets and progressed on to now I have a full brewing system that I can do all grain brewing. But when I first started, I only did kits. So that was the biggest issue across the board.
So how did it start? Like, I mean, were you just like going, I'm going to do this? I mean, how do you make that decision that that's what you're going to do?
Well, first of all, I have a love for beer. I drink beer on a regular basis. And I have a fantastic wife who we've been married now for over 40 years. And for Christmas, she bought me the kit. Got
it. So she wanted you in the garage more.
She wanted me out of the house, yes.
I'll mess with you. But all right, so but this is what we're talking about today, right? It's a hobby. It's just something that you love beer. You got a passion for beer. You started brewing it. You started with little kits, and now you're actually branched out because it's more scientific than probably what we think. I mean, kind of describe that.
I had to learn a whole lot. So each type of beer brews differently. So there's the simple lagers that everybody gets used to when they're 12 on up or whatever you want to consider when you first start drinking.
Texas.
And yeah. Oh, what can I say?
12.
Italian family. What can I say? I know. Anyways, and then you start progressing into the different stuff, into wheat beers and to different beers such as different ales that are out there. And then you start getting into the heavy stuff, and somebody has their first Guinness, and they're like, "Oh God, I can't stand a Guinness." And then they have another dark beer, such as a porter, and it's a little more mellow, and they can handle that. And then they have a milk stout, which is the same as a Guinness. Guinness is a stout too, but the milk stout is a lot more mellow, and because it's made from milk, and so it has that more gentle feeling to it. And then you start getting into learning what the different hops do to beer, how long they sit in beer, and what the differences happen if you make them last longer in the brew. And you learn about the different types of wheat, the different types of rice, different types of grains that you can use to create different ales, different beers, different things. And then you start getting into the fancy stuff, like the pumpkin beers, strawberry beers, the raspberry beer.
Let's think about that. You just made beer sound healthy. It's got grains. It's got that's the way I describe pizza. I'm like, it's got tomatoes. It's like peppers. So what is it about? All right. So tell me about your favorite, the thing you're like going, the first thing, as soon as I think I'm good enough, I'm going to make X. What was that? What beer was it?
Well, it's actually changed throughout the years, but the first beer that I really truly wanted to make was a porter. I wanted to make a pecan porter, similar to that 512 makes. And 512 is a local brewery here in Texas, and they make a fantastic pecan porter. So my first attempts at a pecan porter were the first things I did. I came close, and I had to work at it to get it perfected and everything else. But I've got really, really close to the point where I like mine better than theirs.
So So Blaine, have you ever done anything like this? I mean, you go to a lot of different breweries. You're pretty close to a bunch of them right there in Edmonton. Have you ever tried? I've never tried. So
I've never tried making beer. A friend of mine in Scottsdale made beer a number of years ago. I thought it was really, really good. But I've never made beer. I did one attempt right after my wife and I got married. I made one attempt to make wine from a kit, and it was just awful, like just undrinkable. It was. I don't know if it was probably poor ingredients and probably operator error all combined into one big mess. And I had a whole pile of bottles of just the world's worst wine, which I am sure all of it got dumped after we probably cracked the first bottle because it was not good. So that was my one ill-fated experience.
And actually, Blaine, that's where mine started from. My father made wine at home for years. And when I was in 7th and 8th grade, my science fair project was making root beer in sarsaparilla. And I made root beer the first year and sarsaparilla the second year and explained the differences between the two and what it made, why it was sarsaparilla as opposed to root beer. And so that's maybe partially where I got started, but then it kind of went dormant for a while.
okay, you can't say that and not tell us the difference. What is the difference?
One starts with S and one starts with R. That's about as far as I can go.
Root beer comes from a true root compound that you use to create the beverage. Okay. Where sarsaparilla comes from more of a grain compound that creates the similar flavor.
I was going to say sap.
Sap. How'd you get there? Is that your Latin kicking in?
Sap, like sarsaparilla.
Like, oh,
close enough.
Root origin of that word.
I can see the appeal. I never really. I think the thing is, it's too late for me to start in beer because I drink, so many beers. I'm kind of a bit of a beer nerd, so I'm so picky. And I know if I started doing it, it would just be awful, and it would take me years to get to the point where I'm like, that's pretty good. But I can see the appeal because I've started to ferment stuff. And so I started making like kimchi and pickles and sauerkraut and all that. And it's like making something where you get to tweak the ingredients, you get to play with it, and you get to see that the end result is really fun. It's really neat. So I can absolutely see the appeal of that.
Yeah, so it's a cool hobby. It really is. I don't have any cool hobbies like that, but I want to tease something right now that I want you to answer after like that mid break. Did you ever think about or have you thought about making it into a business? Right? You don't have got to answer it, but I'm just talk us through. I don't want you to answer it, matter of fact, until after the break. I want people to listen to that. But just what's your thought process? Like going, I'm pretty good. I'm getting pretty good at this. What's next?
So for me, I kept pushing myself to try to figure out a way to make different beers. But when you're first start out, you just make extracts. So you're kind of stuck to somebody else's recipe. And that was how I started. So for the first 5-6 years, all I did were extracts. That's all I had the capability of doing was extracts. And so when you do extracts, you're really kind of stuck to what their recipe is set. And I started going to school. There's a couple of brewer schools that are available online, and you learn how the different grains interact with each other, and how different malts are created, and how the hops, when they're added, how they change the flavor of the beer, how they change the aroma to the beer. Because most people just think when they drink beer is just beer. It's just a taste. But to me, drinking beer is the aroma, the flavor, the aftertaste. It's kind of like when they start talking about people drinking wine. I want to feel all those notes. I want to taste that oak. I want to taste that pieces of vanilla that are in there. And if it happens to be fruit beer, I want to taste fresh fruit, not an extract. So that's what makes the difference when I start tasting beer is what did they use? How did they come to it? What is the notes that come from it? What do I smell when I drink it? And then what do I smell after I've drank it? Because there's two different aromas that come from drinking beer. But most people don't stop to think of that.
Yeah. Hey, Blaine, did Pat just level up the podcast? I mean, like there's like an air of sophistication about this thing now. Like we don't talk like that.
Yeah. If anyone's this is your first time listening, when it's just me and Mike, it's not that sophisticated sounding. But I get it. Like I because I'm a bit of a foodie. I know Mike sometimes you make fun of me for this kind of stuff, but I am a little bit of a foodie, and I really value, kind of the innovation side and everything, but I really value fresh, clean ingredients. I want to dig into this a little bit because I've never really thought of starting a brewery. I don't know anything about it. I wouldn't even attempt it. But I kind of get the sense that there's a couple different camps with breweries because I've been to a lot of them. So I start to get the feel for them. And some of them are very much like you, Pat. It's on the quality and the experience of the beer, right? And then there's this other group. It's basically a brew pub. And it's not about the quality of the beer. It's about the quality of the location and food service and cranking both out. And it's like a volume, like a quantity versus quality sort of thing, right? And so I tend to strictly avoid the ones that are obviously just a restaurant that kind of characterize themselves as a brewery. And I like to find those ones that it's all about quality of the beer. And that's where you're coming from. So I applaud that because that's I think the noble track to take for that.
What about you, Blaine? I mean, what is a hobby that you've ever had that you said, I could probably do this for a living? Have you ever thought that? I mean,
do it for a living. I like almost anything I do. I have to hold myself back from starting a business, right? Like, because I've already got a business, right? Like, so I would have a hobby, to try and get away from business and to calm my brain down. And immediately I'm like, I should make it a business. I can make a website. And it's just, you get sucked down the vortex of that. And so I've actually had to be really quite disciplined on not doing that. And one of the endeavors I did a few years ago, like I was making skateboards and actually was making some pretty nice decks. Like
you do
nice
knives
boards.
Too, right? You do knives as well.
And I started doing knives too, because it was a weird story, but during COVID, when I couldn't go down south and it was cold and I was building stuff in the garage, I couldn't laminate because it was too cold in the garage. So I got some equipment and started making knives just for fun. Same thing. I could get sucked down that vortex of, okay, I'm going to like, you got immediately the whole business plan lays out. And I know it's a hard path to go down the product side and everything, but you can't help it. Your brain just goes into how you're going to brand it, how you're going to market it, and then it's just like, nope, stop myself because I don't need another business. This is to try and take my mind away from business, right? But that's because that's what I do all day I'm obsessed and engrossed with business all day. I need it to be a relief. So yeah, it's hard for me not to go down that path. But I force myself to avoid that because it's defeating the purpose in a lot of ways.
Yeah, because you and I, this is a big distinction between you and I and neighbor Pat, all right? Meaning that's what we do. I'm 14 businesses in because I'm just like you, where I'm like, oh, I can do that, right? I outlined this week 3 different small apps, like modules to put into my app. And I'm like going, I could spin any one of those 3 off into another business, right? That's because that's kind of my hobby is I like trying to figure out how to, teach. That's a weird thing, but to come up with the concept, that's my hobby, is coming up with different ways to teach. Neighbor Pat, though, is a corporate guy, right? And he works for a large corporation, and he's got a lot of responsibility, and it's just the job. I look at it that way. It's a job. It isn't like you and I like going. He might do this. I mean, Pat, you can correct me, but you and I, Blaine, we might go to bed still thinking about the problem and trying to fix it, and might even wake up in the middle of the night and go do something about it.
Guaranteed. The hardest part for me anyway as an entrepreneur is getting to sleep, because the brain won't shut down. Like, it's just, I'm wired that way. The brain just never shuts down. And so that's why a lot of things I do is to try and just, that's how you got to get rest. You got to shut the brain down, because you can walk away from the office. It doesn't matter. Your brain never shuts down. Right. And it's, but there is a transition. Like when I started my first business, I started a little design business, and initially it was me, myself, and I, and a laptop and some fell off the back of the truck software to get her going, and me trying to get clients. And that was the first thing, is like, get clients. And that's what I did. I went out and got clients. Right.
Well, can I ask a question though?
Sure. Yep.
Because in my thought process, isn't that scary all on its own? Just you, yourself, and I. It's all you, and that's it. And you make a mistake, and it's.
Well, I think entrepreneurs are naturally, I'll say risk takers. Some people say stupid. Never even occurred to me. That never occurred to me. In fact, in my mind, when I had one job right out of university for about 3 years, in my mind, there was a cap on that job, and they could fire me anytime, or the business could go out of business, or whatever happened, I could be out of a job. But when I'm on my own, I don't have a cap. There's no salary that is like, well, I can't make more than that. And then the other side of it is, I can always make a buck. Like, I'll always have something going through. It's not like a complete on or off switch. So that's how I viewed it. No, but I do want to sort of allude to, kind of go just a little bit further down the path, is because this is where the sort of hobby to entrepreneur, fast forward a few years, I don't design anymore. I have input on things, but I don't design anymore. There's a point where you are 100% the entrepreneur. They're 100% running the business, and everything. Then I found out that was what I was mostly obsessed with. Design was a means to an end, but I was obsessed with business, and that's where I wanted to. And it's also out of necessity. So that's the one thing that I kind of want to dig into a little bit is, when you move from hobby to business, you kind of no longer do the hobby in a lot of ways. Like, business takes over.
Yeah, it kind of robs the fun, right? It robs the fun out of it.
It robs the fun out of it in some ways, or it's like, I actually get way of a try. I'm like you, Mike. Like, I get way more of a, it's more fun to drive the business. It's more like, that's the stuff I get really passionate about. And within a little while, I'm like, I could not be a designer anymore. Like, after year 2 being in business, I couldn't do it anymore, because everything had shifted in my brain, and it was all about trying to drive a business. Right.
All right. Two things. A, I want to respond to Pat's say, is it scary? But B, I want to say, talking about driving business, right? Right now, you're driving one of the coolest cash flow forecasting software programs on the planet. And it's even more than that. We've limited just my description to cash flow, but you do more than that. You take large pieces of data and make sense of it, man. Can you tell us about Dry Run?
Almost everyone comes in the door looking for help understanding their cash flow and forecasting their cash flow. And the businesses we help the most, they've got generally some sort of level of volatility, or some challenge in their cash flow. That's why they come in. But you have to see more than cash flow. You have to be able to see further ahead and say, what's the revenue that's coming into my business is going to drive that cash flow? And our namesake, Dry Run, model scenarios. It's all about dry running things and figuring out what's next for my business and how do I navigate. And I'll tell you, the conversations I have today, they're a little bit more pressing, to be honest, than they were, a few years ago, because it's a tricky time out there right now, and cash flow is usually at the root of it. So if you're a CFO, you're on a finance team, and you're looking to understand what's going on with your cash flow, and especially get out of these 50 tab spreadsheets with 40 people or 10 people or 2 people all accessing these spreadsheets, come visit us at dryrun.com, and we will make your life so much easier and so much more clear.
I'm going to add on that. Before you make an investment in innovation, in technology, in a big hiring decision, get Dry Run and model it out to see what it's going to take to be successful with that decision. I'm telling you, it's that good. You can do multiple scenarios, as many as you want, and it will even overlay them where you can show which one's better. You'll see the results in real time before you spend $1. Hey, even Pat shook my hand on that transition. That was good. And that was smooth. That was so smooth.
I've had like one good transition this year to Mike, and then the rest have been ass. So I have not got as polished on those at all.
All right. So back to Pat saying, is it scary? Hell yes. It's only scary though the first time. I don't know what it is. I'm more scared now, 25 years in, to have to go work for somebody else if I had to. And the thing is, I think if you offer me a salary, I'm like going, I can make more than that tomorrow. It's a weird shift in the confidence that you get when you can actually be good at what you do. And I think serial entrepreneurs are not afraid anymore. They're afraid at first. At least I was. I was scared. I lost sleep. I fought in my relationships. You name it, all the problems that come with it start up front. But once you kind of get into the rhythm and understand the way business works, you won't go back to working a job. You just won't.
There's no way. But it's
don't say but. Don't say but.
Well, no, like my first business
we're trying to talk Pat into start a business.
Yeah. Well, let's go in with your eyes wide closed here. The tricky part is, like, my first business was not, it was, there probably was fear. I don't remember it as much at that point, to be completely honest. And I think it's because I just had this belief, and it was a completely irrational belief, except kind of pulled it off. Right. But that was a bit of an easier business because it was very low cost, and I could get clients and be in the black like immediately. I will say Dry Run as an innovation product where you build, find that market, sell, grow that market, it has been infinitely harder. And that's the thing with also, like basically starting a brewery or a product company. There's a lot of upfront costs, and there's a lot of moving parts, and you don't get, I don't think, as much of an opportunity to learn on the fly as with a service-based company, where it's a little bit of a safety net in a way compared to diving off the cliff with a product.
All right. So I want to ask Pat about his journey and then get a decision. But before we get a decision from him, I want you to give him, and I'll do it too, one reason to start a business and one reason not to start a business, and I'll do the same. Can you do that?
Oh yeah. Well, one reason to start a business is there's nothing like building. There's just nothing like building something and being the driver, the inception, the innovator. There's nothing like it. There's nothing that feels like that. There's nothing like being out on your own. The one reason not to is it is incredibly risky, way more risk than entrepreneurs ever want to admit. And it can be like incredibly stressful. I literally had a friend of mine about a week ago. He said to me, we were having beer, and he said, you just go from a steady state of moderate anxiety to periods of high anxiety. That was his whole thing. That's all there is.
I would say this: start a business if people are already asking you for your stuff and willing to pay. If somebody's willing to give you money, start a business, especially if you start to just kind of dip your toe in the water and all of a sudden you're making as much or more than you do in your job, right? If I'm making more in my side hustle than I am in my job, maybe I should spend more time on the side hustle, right? I say not do it if volatility will wreck your life, right? Meaning that you can't manage a little bit of volatility, and you have to do that with cash reserves. If you don't have a little, a little,
come on, Mike,
right?
a lot of volatility.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, you're going to have a lot of volatility up front until it smooths out, but until you get your message, until you get your product, until you identify, there's so many things we have to do in a business. You have to know that at least what 12 to 18 months before it even gets somewhat smooth, and then you could still die. Look,
okay, that's I think the stat is 30% of businesses die in their first year, 50% by year 5.
there you go.
Innovation and product businesses, 90% die.
Yeah, and
now I don't know where like a brewery or beer like that fits in. I'm talking like I'm looking more at the tech stats for innovation. It is really it's a real challenge.
So I can add to this in the fact that you talked about 2 different brewers, and in my knowledge, I know of 3 different brewers, 3 different types. So you have the 2 that you talked about where restaurants are attached, but then you have that microbrewer that only creates beer and sells it in stores. They tend to do a little better and a little worse at the same time. So they do better because they don't have to worry about people coming into their shop and seeing their equipment or anything else. They just put everything in a can and then they put it in the grocery store. And if it sells in the grocery store, they get to put more in the grocery store. The better it sells, the more they get to put in there.
That's a model that I think makes sense because it lets you wade in a little bit and you don't have as giant of a cash outlay with, like I said, like you pointed the moving parts. Do you want to actually run like a restaurant and service and like that? To me, like there's a lot of so that option makes a lot of sense, Pat. And I've seen actually there's a couple of local breweries in town that actually started that way. Now both of them have ended up with a brew pub, higher end. They do a really good job with it. But yeah, there must be a reason for that too, I think.
Yeah. All right, so let's put neighbor Pat on the spot here. We're going to have him kind of tell his story, his thought process, and then ask him to give us the end decision where he's at today. He could change tomorrow. He could say, I'm changing my mind tomorrow, but at least today.
I may not be able to change my mind tomorrow. My wife's probably watching. So,
all right. So, but before that, I need you to answer this question before you start on your story.
So I talked.
Wait. You have to answer a question before you start on your story. I just said that. Can you explain to everybody on the podcast how you got so bad at cornhole? And then you can start your story.
So,
I mean, you're the only person that's ever been skunked twice. I've never seen somebody get skunked twice. Can you explain to everybody so people don't think I'm making this up how you're so bad at cornhole?
I drink.
Well, there you go. That's beautiful, Pat.
Okay,
that might end up a T-shirt on our store. How am I so bad at cornhole in the front? I drink.
That's actually really good. Really good. All right, tell us about your journey. If you've thought about it, what you thought, and then give us where you're at on the decision.
Before Mike even brought this up, I've always been in this involvement, and I've talked to several brewers, Real Ale. I've talked to the brewer out, several brewers here in town. I've gone to BJ's has what's called a beer dinner. So every quarter they have this 4-course meal, and they pair beers to go with it. So you have like 10 different beers along with about 4 courses of food, and they talk about how they pair together. And I've gone to a couple of those where it was just about local brewers. And all of the local brewers were at the beer dinner. So I had a chance to even talk to them directly. And after you've got a chance to meet them, then I actually got a chance to go in and talk to them and see their operation in moving parts and the whole 9 yards. First of all, the fear that comes with all of this is the cost. Just to go from, now I brew at 5 gallons each time I brew, 5 gallons. These guys brew 1,500 gallons. So we're talking about going from tiny, this, to that whole bottle. And that's a major difference. So as you get larger, quality is harder to maintain. The other thing that goes with that is once you get everything brewed, the people that now sell in the grocery store sell in cans. I bottle everything because you can take the bottle, recycle it, wash it back out, and I have just put a new cap on. Where the can, for aluminum can like this, you get the can section and the lid goes on. And then you have to get a brand new can. And then you can put a label around it. But so it's a totally different process. So with that being, I've looked at a lot of different situations and a couple of them that have gone under. There's one in town that went under, and he's good friends with our neighbor here in town, and I was able to talk to him for a little while. And part of his issue was quality as opposed to quantity. And that's where he ran into problem. And as you were saying at the beginning of the show, I'm really about quality. Can I sacrifice that to being a business? And that's the dilemma.
Yeah, I mean, right? You can be good, fast, or cheap, but you can only be two of those three. Right? You can never be all three of them, right? So I can be good and fast, not cheap. I can be good and cheap and not fast. That's basically what you're saying, is that the quality, you don't want to suffer on quality just because you have to produce more quantities to, well, survive, to live, to create a business out of it. So where are we at? Where are you thinking right now? I mean,
I would have to say right now, the answer would have to be no. But I'm not set on that answer because I've made steps to talk to some of these brewers and I have my own recipes. I'm trying to take those recipes to their level, their size level, and seeing if they'll allow me to brew their batch out of my recipe. And then if they can produce something that they can sell, then that tells me that I've got something that's quality that can sell at that price.
Got it. So Pat's going to stick to his knitting, stay in his corporate job for the time being.
And yes, I go to bed at night worrying about some of my corporate business too. So it does keep me up at night.
Worry about the fiddle hopper back at the office, but you don't have to worry about your own business.
Dude,
now,
I really thought Pat was going to try to sneak one of those in, and he missed it. He's not there yet.
What did you tell me? Be myself.
Yeah.
I was just be myself. This is it. This is what you get, folks.
Yeah, I got to tell you though that I understand exactly what you're saying. I love your passion for the product. That's super important. With the decision of going into business, I go all the way back to when I first started, like my very first business, and I had several friends that all started a business at the same time, just out of university. Like they kind of all sort of started. And I did mine differently than everybody else's. And there's a little bit of that kind of weird. How come I'm doing it so different? Except that I believed I'm just like, I was cocky enough to go, but I think I'm right. The other, there was, there were 3 or 4 guys. They all went out and bought a full, beautiful computer system suite, the whole works, set up an office, and they were showing me all this stuff. And I bought a laptop and got some software, like I said, through a friend kind of thing, to get started on the cheap. And the reason I got a laptop, I was actually designing on a laptop, but I could only afford 1 computer. And the only reason I got that is because I need to be able to walk into an office and look like I got my shit together and show them stuff. And so the only money I put out was on my laptop and on a really nice leather portfolio case and business cards and dress nice. Because in my mind, it was about getting the first sale. Because if I don't have money coming in, I'm dead. And so everything was about keep my costs low and get money coming in, keep my costs low and get money coming in. And a year down the road, I got money coming in. And I don't think any of those guys made a nickel, and they'd all gone and got jobs. And it was one of those things that I'm like, oh shit, I was right. But it was like this self-preservation of looking further ahead and going, I need sales. And to me, the number one thing is like, this is why I was bringing up the models of the brew. It's all revenue based. Like how do they do that? How do they move that through? And the other side is, how the hell do you get into a grocery store? Or how the hell do you get into some sort of distributor? I have no idea how that works, but everything hinges on getting that deal. And I don't think it comes down just to quality.
No, it's all about who you know, who you can talk to. How can you get your foot in the door for them to try your beer? Now, that's the nice thing about HEB here in Texas, is they are open to microbreweries and new breweries. And they would be the first people to allow you to put their beer in your store, and maybe even come in and do live demonstrations, sampling. And my answer is, once you taste my beer, you're hooked. I got Mike. Well, he drinks Coors Light on a regular basis, but what can I say? But
yeah, Mike, you actually do disappoint me every once in a while when you pull up the Coors Light. No, it's like, Pat, I think you actually had the model that really made sense in place as a contract brewer. And if you can go in and sell your beer and have a contract brewer that is ready to let you run, it might be like, I can go in and it's like, I can get the PO, I can get the order because they tasted my beer, they love it. I can put a brand on, I can make some bottles, very tiny batch to test it. And if they like it, you've got a contract brewer that's ready to roll. So I think that model actually makes sense on a way to get the ball rolling and get started, because I can't imagine, like, how the hell do you just go, all right, I was going to start a brewery.
Yeah. But I think my step, can I make it at that quantity and make it taste what it tastes at my quantity of 5 gallons? That's my dilemma right now.
Yeah, you would have to rely a lot on that contractor and trust that contractor that they could, you would be able to work with them to actually get it bang on, right?
All right, so you guys made fun of me with Coors Light, but I can't tell you with confidence that every Coors Light tastes the same. Not every Budweiser tastes the same. It's luck of the draw. There are variances. Matter of fact, I quit drinking Bud.
I'm going to take a sip of some Coors Light right now.
Oh, that's good. Hey, it seems like a good time. You know what we should do instead of you make fun of me? Is let's draw for the 200
Super Pack. And you know what? Like, it is a surprise. Like, I know, like, we keep saying you get a 5x8 autograph by us. No one cares about that. There's other cool stuff in the 200 Super Pack.
That's something to put on the dartboard. Come on, baby.
Well, there you go. Whatever you want to use it for. Yeah.
Blaine is going to design. I'm going to put this out here. I'm going to put a forcing function on you, Blaine. You're going to design a Fiddle Hopper logo and put it on a t-shirt, and that goes in. It's a one of a kind. We're not even going to sell it. We're just going to give it away. We're going to do it one time, put it on a shirt, send it to whoever wins, and give it to them. What do you think? I just made that up right now, but they get it.
Well, I like the idea, except that what if people really like the shirt and want it? Maybe we'll do a limited edition color.
All right, we'll do that. All right, so
maybe we can put their name on the back of the shirt or something like that.
You're the designer. You're the designer, so you know.
We'll come up with something. I'll come up with something, right. and then we may make a lesser version, a less customized version for the store. Maybe we'll see.
All right. So here's what I want to do. Yeah. What I've done, I have the fanciest container in the world.
Oh, there we go.
Right.
Nice.
I had Mallory.
I only had to do the spreadsheet. So there we go.
Yeah, but I took your spreadsheet of everybody that commented, everybody that liked, everybody that did something and connected with us, right? It didn't matter what it was. You can make fun of us, you could just whatever. But if you did it, it's in here right now, right?
Oh, and wait a minute.
I put it in.
You added those that made fun of you?
Yeah.
Then there's at least 7,000 in there.
That's
from
3/4 of the bag.
So here's what I did. There's actually over 100 entries in there. It surprised me, right? Because we've only been doing this for a couple of months.
Okay,
there's 100.
I was just thinking, Pat, we were going to have you pull the name, but I just realized your name's in there a ton.
Well, it shouldn't be.
So if you pull out your own name, no, but that's what I'm saying is, Mike, maybe you should pull it, because what if Pat wins?
No.
Well, okay, you pull it. If you win, we'll trust you. That's what we'll do.
All right, so it doesn't matter. Whoever wins, you have to tell us your address so we can send you the stuff, right? Because the t-shirts and all that stuff, we have to send it somewhere. So
yes,
at least give me your email so I can get your address so we can send this stuff out. Fair, Pat. If you win, will you do that? I know where you're at, but I have to walk down there, and I don't want to do that.
If whoever is out there doesn't get back to us, we're drawing another name next week. But anyway, we'll give you a week to get back to us.
That's right. If you do not, there you go. That's a good one right there. If you don't get back to us within a week, that means we know you're not listening. You're not listening. This was an important one.
You might want to give them 2 weeks, because some people only listen to the recording. So,
okay, we'll do that. There's no big rush. Okay,
so I made Mallory do this for me because that's too much work.
Thank you, Mallory. Mallory, you are now one of our beer sponsors next week.
All right, let me shake them up. Let me shake them up so it looks. Here, come over here in the camera so everybody knows this is legit.
Well, wait a minute. I was in camera. Now you made me stand up for the camera.
Right there. Pull one. Just one, not 2, not 4. Oh, they didn't know?
Just one, Dave. That's all.
Just one. What'd you get? Rick Banda. He owns Zero Chem Cleaning out in not Scottsdale. It's like what's that other city? He told you what it was, and you would know it because you live out there. But he's from Arizona.
I know he's from Arizona. Rick, we met.
We met.
Most of the people that are in the draw we met, actually. But yeah, Rick, we congrats, Rick. Okay, I didn't know what your last name was, so I just thought it was some guy named Rick. But anyway, okay, so.
Well, just like neighbor Pat, some guy that's named Pat.
Hey, that even proves that I didn't write that. That's not my. that is a young girl. That's not that is a young girl's head, right?
that is probably not your right. No, Pat. Like that was actually like a couple of weeks ago when you commented. It was Patrick, and I'm like, some guy named Patrick just commented because I just Pat. so anyway.
Hey, how did you know
Congrats,
he misspells it? Sometimes he misspells it and says Patrick.
That's to keep you on your toes. I told you, I drank.
Mike, you probably have. If Mike doesn't have your address and all that, send it to Mike, and we will fire stuff off, and let us know when you get it, because we're going to want to pop you on the show.
Yeah, you definitely want to give Mike your address, because he thinks it's somewhere in Arizona, but it's one of those cities other than Scottsdale. But one of them that's close to Scottsdale. But
I know he owns a company. He owns a company in Arizona. That's I don't know where his home address is though. That's all I know.
If I was there, Rick, I would deliver it personally, but I'm not there. Still full, so it's gonna be fun. And we're hoping that you'll at least take a picture when you open it. But it would be awesome if we could actually get you on videos.
And now you're going to be a beer sponsor like me.
like neighbor Pat. You can be just like him.
Oh, no, wait a minute. No.
Hey, this was episode 200. This is one of my favorite episodes. This is really fun. This is right. It went well.
It was fun. It was good. It was also the whiskey episode, so probably helped.
All right. So what you thought you were listening to and what we thought you were listening to was the 200th episode of Mike and Blaine, Business, Beer, and BS. So, hey, I really appreciate it, but we need more people, right? So if you liked it, send it to 3 people, right? Send it to 3, subscribe yourself, send it to 3 people and say, check this out, especially neighbor Pat. He's in it. This guy was a great story about should I turn my hobby into a business.
And you know what? By the time we get to 250 or episode 250, we don't want a little Ziploc of probably like 500 Pats and 600 Ricks. And no, we actually have a lot of people, but I will say that we got some of our favorite people keep reaching out like every 2 minutes, which is awesome. But we want barrel. Like I want thousands in there to draw for the 250 or 300 super pack that we're going to do next time. So.
Mallory does not want thousands in there. We'll have to automate it somehow. She already complained about this 100 and some.
Yeah, thanks, Mallory. You literally are one of our beer sponsors. We're going to put you on there. Thank you for it.
There you go. All right. Hey, we'll see you next week. 201. Me and you, we are halfway through. Wait a second. We're taking next week off.
Oh, yeah. You are off next week, and I think I might be off the first week of August. We'll figure it out. It's summer schedule coming up, so we'll probably miss 1 or 2 episodes over the next month or so, and then we'll be right back at it. But 2 weeks from now, I think we'll be on. So 201 in 2 weeks, and hopefully by then, Rick, get in touch with us, or we'll reach out, and hopefully we can, like, I don't know, get you on or get a picture, something like that. It'd be kind of fun. So.
Yeah, right on. Hey, appreciate you. Thanks, neighbor Pat. We'll see you next week.
Check out their website at mikeandblaine.com. Then subscribe to the podcast and buy these guys a beer.